Show me what it's like to be circling among the clouds, because without you by my side, I would be stuck here on the ground.
Hi there, hello, how are you? My name is Chrissy Harless. Here we take on home organizing and cleaning while being budget friendly, hella efficient, and oftentimes elevated. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you 12 Amazon organizational must-haves that I think literally every single kitchen could use these, and the best part is they're all under $30. Like the most expensive is $28. But before we jump into this video, I just want to say thank you for all the kind words, all the awesome comments on me just suddenly having a new channel for you, and thank you. I know I did like a poll on my community tabs maybe about 2 months ago, so it was almost a unanimous vote that we were ready for a change away from like dedicated to subscription boxes. An extra thank you to my patrons for voting on turning this into something that does have a little bit of a canna undertone without being very in your face. Organization, for a lot of people, it is fun for me, but organization and cleaning to a lot of people is like the most daunting, overwhelming, exhausting task that you ever want to do. So whilst elevated definitely helps. Let's get started. The first set of organizational things that you need happens over here by the sink. Daryl and I cook the majority of our meals here at home. So the first product that we added to our sink area is this touch-free soap dispenser. We have had a few of these in the past. They've all been rechargeable, and what's the biggest problem with that is that you don't know that it needs to be recharged until you're ready to use it. This one actually takes 4 AAA batteries, so once it dies, we can quickly replace it. It also has a feature to preserve the battery life when it's not in use. This large clear tank, so we don't have to refill it very often, and when it is getting close to refilling it, we can actually see it. And because it's touch-free, there's no ugly bottle sitting on your counter or something that you feel like you need to take out and put away every time you're doing the dishes. I hate touching a soap bottle when I'm doing the dishes, and I also hate how crusty and gross the soap will get at the cap. It just feels like something that you have to maintain when you really shouldn't have to maintain a soap bottle. The next product is a must-have if you have a divided sink. This caddy literally hooks on so it doesn't get knocked off. This one's also self-draining, so it keeps your sponges and your brushes dry rather than them sitting in their own wetness on the countertop getting all mildewy and moldy. It's not so big that it feels like it's taking up too much space, but it is big enough to hold my brushes, my stainless steel soap, and my scraper, which if you don't, I feel like this is the perfect little caddy setup for when you're doing the dishes. They're just bottle brushes, but the kind that do not have the sponge on the top. They don't tear apart, they don't get gross and mildewy, they wash very easily. I stick them in the dishwasher and it sanitizes them. And the replacement heads are like 3 for $10, but they last you like 6 months to a year. Straw brushes, of course, I think everybody should have these. If you drink anything out of straws, the scraper scrapes everything. Like this surprising slime that I had adhered to one of my measuring cups. Couldn't get it off without ruining my nails. It comes in handy scraping burnt shit out of the bottoms of pots and pans, scraping off the counters. I will have all of these things that I'm talking about linked down below, but I feel like it's really nice, efficient sink setup that we have going on here. All right, last product over by the sink is replacing this dish drying mat for good. It was yet another thing that I had to maintain. To be hella efficient and to stay on top of your shit, we don't need to maintain the way that we maintain the shit. With a mat, it took a lot longer for everything to dry. I would have to usually flip it over so that the insides of the cups could dry because it's basically just sitting on a mat of its own moisture. The mat was out constantly. This thing was just taking up counter space. So we're replacing it with this stainless steel rolling rack mat situation. It rolls up nicely to put it away. It doesn't absorb water, so it won't get stanky and moldy. It allows for better airflow around the dishes, which actually helps them to dry faster. So this is like a permanent replacement. It was $7. It was a necessary upgrade. All right, we're done in the sink. Let's move on to the drawers. This is an area in the kitchen that I am working on. These are drawer liners, and they come in a roll, a bajillion different colors, and they are customizable based on your drawer's size. So you get this roll, you can measure it out to the width to make that part a little bit easier, and then you can cut it as short as you would like. I don't like to hear the utensils sliding around the drawers when I'm opening and shutting them. These cushier thicker mats actually help keep everything in its place. They also cushion sound when you're putting your dishes away or grabbing something out of the drawer. A lot of people are doing their dishes at night after their kids gone to bed, or putting the dishes away in the morning before the kids wake up. Or maybe somebody that you live with works a different shift than you and you need to be respectful of their time as well. So these just help to cushion the sound so well that you can actually still do the task and be quiet. It's again part of being efficient. I need to be able to do the things when I need to do them. I need them to stay put together for a long period of time so that I don't get derailed by projects constantly becoming undone. All right, next up, pot and pan liners. They're basically just felt. They're cut out kind of like snowflakes so that they sit inside of something and they can fold upwards if you want to stick a pot inside of another pot. They would protect the entire surface. These are amazing if you don't have the space, one of those sweet stacking like pans and lid options inside of cabinets. We don't have any cabinets that are big enough for that. I realized when I opened up this drawer though that I had way too many pans that I don't use, so I set up my tags, my keep, donate, and trash and recycle labels so that I can purge it as I'm emptying it, and I can do so with intention. So this saves time from emptying a space and then having to do a second step of sorting everything. By making that decision at the same time when you're emptying it, you've cut out a whole part of the process for you, a whole step. So I was able to eliminate all of my ceramic pans. We haven't used them in years. We got them years ago, but they were a very pricey gift for us and we felt very guilty getting rid of them. Plus we've always had this thought that like maybe we'll need 2 deep 1-pot meal type pans. No, we never did that. I'm cooking for usually a maximum of 6 people. So as I put away my pots and pans, I just throw one of these liners in between them. I leave an extra one on top so that the next time I'm putting away dishes, I don't have to think about shuffling anything around or being down to like a very limited number of these. They come in a bundle of 12. I feel like that should be enough for basically any home, unless you're like that family, the Duggars. I think they're a pretty shady family. All right, let's move on to something super duper easy. It's these pourable oil bottles. These I didn't realize that we needed. I've always just taken the oil bottle out of the pantry, poured it into the pot, put it away. It didn't feel like a big deal at all. Now that I have the ease of just grabbing one of these and pouring it into the pan with one hand and putting it back and it looking nicely, my mind has been changed. It saves me time prepping and cleaning up. It's one of those silly little things that you didn't realize would help with your efficiency as much as it does. Let's just jump right into another easy one. These clear bins from Amazon. I bought them once and then I bought them 2 more times. I have them literally all over my house. They come in a great variety of sizes. They come in 3 different bundle options. I love them for holding small random items. And then I just take this poster putty. You can get poster putty like basically anywhere. And I just use a little ball of it on a foot and I stick it down. Okay, so the last category, I guess, of kitchen spaces to organize would be the cabinets, right? Okay, so what do I call this cabinet? Like the wet ingredients section. It's got sauces, it's got oils, vinegars. It is just a hodgepodge of let's cook with it, let's add flavor to it. I had originally set it up in nice pretty little rows, but the second that you need anything out of the cabinet that is not in the very front row, you're moving the rows in order to see what's behind it, and then ruining the organization of the cabinet. So I got on board with the Tina Turners. First though, I need to purge because this looks like it's too many things that I have not used in a very long time, and I'm expecting a couple of them to be expired. So whenever you are reorganizing a food area, I am going to urge that you look at the things. Do you actually consume them? Are they a non-perishable that you could donate? Are they expired and should be trashed? You would be surprised how much you find in your own kitchen that is expired just because it's something that you never go to. And because you don't go to it and because you don't ever consume it, it just sits there and sits there and sits there. And until you actually intentionally purge it out of that location, it's just expiring there. I also started to separate each of my keep sections into subsections. So then when the Tina Turners were coming out on stage, they would already be kind of like prepped into their own groupings. All right, backups went to the top shelf. The rest gets to fit snugly on the 2 Tina Turners. I was skeptical about them for a long time because I'm thinking like you can fit more things in a rectangular space rather than circle spaces, right? It doesn't make much sense to reduce your ability of capacity in order to make it more organized. And so I felt like I was against them for a very long time, but my mind has been changed. I don't feel like I lost any storage space, and my husband does an absolute ton of cooking also, so I had to show him. He was super excited about it. It's like, look, you can see the fronts of all of the labels. This kitchen cabinet that has literally been a nightmare for us, almost 5 years, has function. I've been in this house for almost 5 years. That's wild talk. Next up, I actually have 2 pretty neat little things to show you. So first we have to empty out my tea cabinet. This is where I store like, yeah, literally all of my tea, but I would also like to move my teacups over here. I need to kind of pare this down. I need to go through the expirations and make sure that while I'm doing the organizing, I'm also purging flavors that don't call to me anymore. Things that are expired, obviously combining some older teas on top of the newer teas. This will help me pare down my collection so that I can actually organize it better and have more space for what else should be in this space. So being that part of my plan is to move about 6 cups over here, I need more space for it. The first super duper neat product that I want to show you are these tags. They have been useful everywhere in my house. They're durable, they're made of plastic, they clip onto any bin, and most importantly, they are reusable. So they come with a special marker, but if you make a mistake, you just wipe it with water and it dries really fast. I just smear it across my shirt. It's dried, it's ready to write on again. But I already knew what I wanted my categories to be, and I don't have the most perfect handwriting, but I also don't have a Cricut, nor do I have the time or desire to actually ever get a Cricut, nor do I want to spend the money having somebody else make the labels for me. If you are also in that camp, you're going to love these labels. They also come in white with like a black marker. Again, everything would be linked down below. All right, next must-have Amazon item. I feel like we're at what, number 9 or 10 are these clear bins. I prefer actually to get mine on Amazon. They tend to be the cheapest. You can measure the space. They aren't the highest quality bin you're going to buy, but they're going to be the most reasonably priced one in the quantity that you can get. I ended up needing a second bin for my caffeine, which isn't really that shocking, but I didn't love that, so I eventually changed that entirely. Okay, so the second super duper neat thing that you need in your cabinet, especially if you have like a little tea or a coffee cabinet, like a little beverage kind of section, are these mug hooks. They literally slide onto your shelf and they hold your mugs. It's like using the airspace in an efficient way if you have a smaller home or you have smaller cabinets, but also how much more efficient is it to not have to go into a second cabinet in the morning to grab your coffee mug if you already have everything you need in the same cabinet. Again, efficiency is key for me, otherwise the shit don't stay. So these actually do come with hardware, so you can screw them into your cabinet and have them secured at the back, which is obviously recommended, especially because it's holding heavy glassware. I don't know if this is specifically the spot that I want these to be in, so I want to wait a couple weeks and see, but then I'm also considering trying like a 5-pound command strip. I think would hold it just fine. But yeah, you could definitely do either or, and I think that it actually looks like pretty neat. It looks really cool. So then we are down to the very last item, and I feel like you knew that this was coming. It's your spice organization. Every time I get to an organizational video and they get to the spices, I'm like, no, please don't tell me that I'm gonna need to buy a whole bunch of labels and a whole bunch of jars and this special funnel, and I'm gonna need to buy all my spices in bulk or take all of my spices that are already in their own bottles with caps and labels and put them into a different bottle with a cap and a label just purely for aesthetic reasons. There's nothing about that that is efficient. No hate, no shade if you do that. One of the things that I know about myself is that I would never be able to maintain that. Next time I go grocery shopping and I need to take that spice out of its bottle and put it into the other bottle that's already in, I'm just gonna take that bottle out and stick the new one in. So I have this spicy shelf. It's the most as seen on TV thing that you can get. It's actually really helpful though, because it comes with 2 shelves. They can be stacked. They're adjustable based on their height and their width. They can sit alone, or you can utilize the pegs that are existing in your cabinet. It does take a minute to figure out what size attachments and like what configuration it is that you need, but it is highly customizable, which is the pro. It's just that you need to spend the time to figure it out, which is the con. It definitely takes less time than building anything from IKEA, and the instructions are actually pretty easy and clear. Once again, I organized all of my spices. So when I took them out, I sorted them, got rid of the things that I wasn't going to put back in here. Made note that I never use that cardamom powder and that the only reason I have cream of tartar is to make homemade Play-Doh. So I went and put that in the craft cabinet where it belongs instead. Now that that's all done, let's put it back in a methodical manner so you know where to look for the specific things that you're looking for. I put all of my single spices on the left, and then I put all of my blends on the right. And then on the far right of my cabinet is mostly like salt and pepper. It didn't end up working with the spicy shelf. So I tried making the spicy shelf shorter and making a row of the salts. I didn't love that either because it still rendered that second spicy shelf to be basically useless. So I let it sit for a minute, slept on it, woke up the next morning, grabbed the third Tina Turner, stuck her in there, and I am so happy. She came through again. I freaking love those. I'm gonna end up buying 37 more and put them all around my entire house. So then that's it. Thank you all so damn much for being here. Huge shout out to my patrons for making videos like this possible, for voting on the change in the channel, and to all of you for voting on the big change in the channel. That made no sense. The patrons picked elevated, you picked home, elevated home. It worked out perfectly, right? I love it. I'm obsessed with it. Thank you all so damn much again for being here. Please consider hitting subscribe. I truly, truly, truly do appreciate it. We have videos every Wednesday right now. On Wednesdays, new videos. I'll see you next week. Love ya. Bye.